Please forgive me, Sect Master. Shrek Academy has at least one Soul Sage and several Soul Emperor-level experts. I was unable to infiltrate and investigate. However, I delivered the letter you instructed to one of the teachers at Shrek Academy. It will definitely reach their headmaster. The middle-aged man showed a slight smile. Flander, oh Flander, you truly are an idealistic person. I am curious to see how you will educate my daughter. Perhaps only by leaving home will that little witch learn to behave. All right, you may leave. Yes, Sect Master. The young man retreated quickly. A vigorous voice echoed in the hall, seeming to come from all directions, making the hall vibrate. Fengji, are you really comfortable letting Rongrong be out there alone? Do you think Shrek Academy can teach her better than we can? No, I need to bring Rongrong back. I am not at ease with her outside. With the voice's appearance, an elderly man with white hair and beard, but a face as tender as a baby's walked out from the inner hall, boldly sitting on a chair next to Sect Master Ning Fengji. Ning Fengji's face showed helplessness. A sword uncle, with you and dragon uncle around, I can't keep that girl in the sect anymore. You two spoil her too much, and she's become unmanageable at home. Letting her receive some education outside might change her. Sword uncle discontentedly said, who says we spoil Rongrong? You only see her playful side, not her obedient side. You have many sons, but only one daughter. Can you really bear to do this? Ning Fengji resolutely said, Sword uncle, no matter what, I won't go after her this time, and neither you nor dragon uncle can go either. There's no need to worry about Rongrong's safety. The headmaster of Shrek Academy is the first spearhead of the former Golden Iron Triangle. He will recognize our 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda's martial soul. With his protection, Rongrong will be safe. Sword uncle snorted angrily, if anything happens to Rongrong, I will hold you accountable. I feel stiff. I need to find Old Bone Dragon to loosen up. In the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, or even the entire Dolua continent, there were few who dared to speak to Ning Fengji in such a manner. This old man was obviously one of them. Although Ning Fengji appeared to be in his 40s, he was actually over 60. Ning Rongrong was his youngest child and only daughter. Night had fallen. Shrek Academy's headmaster, Four-Eyed Owl Flander, stood on the large training field, looking at all 7 students in front of him. Dai Mubai, Tang San, Xiao Wu, Ma Hongjun, and Zhu Zhuqing, who was cold but neat and tidy, were all ready for the evening class, full of energy. However, Flander's attention wasn't on them, but on the other 2 students. Oscar, have you 2 finished running 20 laps? Flander's sharp gaze made people dare not meet his eyes. For some reason, Tang San hadn't seen any other teachers in the academy today, including Zhao Wuji. It seemed that only the 7 students and the headmaster were in the entire academy. Oscar coughed and nodded, headmaster, I've finished. Flander coldly snorted, I asked about both of you, not just you. Oscar turned to look at Ning Rongrong, who was also looking at him with an innocent expression in her beautiful eyes. Oscar gritted his teeth, nodded, and said, yes, we've both finished. Flander smiled. If Tang San were to describe his smile, the word sinister would fit perfectly. A very good, Oscar. I didn't expect you to be so considerate. Come here. Flander pointed to a spot in front of him. Oscar showed a bitter smile, but didn't look at Ning Rongrong again, walking up to stand in front of Flander. Flander's right hand slowly rose and lightly patted Oscar's shoulder. I appreciate your spirit of camaraderie. Since that's the case, run another 20 laps to show me how deep your camaraderie runs. If you don't finish, you won't get to eat. I've sealed your soul power, so don't try to break it. Go. Oscar didn't say anything, just nodded silently and started running again. Flander's gaze turned to Dai Mubai, Tang San, and the others. Do you understand why I'm doing this? Why am I making him run again? Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun, familiar with Flanders' temper, remained silent. Zhu Zhuqing, being naturally cold, just looked at him indifferently. Tang San and Xiao Wu, however, subconsciously nodded. They indeed didn't understand why Flander was doing this. Flander still had that somewhat chilling smile on his face. Because he lied. Even if he did it out of camaraderie or some other reason, he still lied. You are all still children, and lying is the worst quality. I want you to understand this. As he spoke, his gaze shifted from the five of them to the innocent-looking Ning Rongrong. Tell me, did you complete the tasks I assigned this morning? Ning Rongrong shook her head honestly. I didn't. The distance was too long, and I was hungry. I couldn't keep going. Flander smiled slightly. So, you went to Soto City alone, had a big meal, wandered around the commercial street, and only then came back to find Oscar, right? Ning Rongrong widened her beautiful eyes. You were spying on me? Flander's expression suddenly turned cold. As the headmaster, I am responsible for every student in the academy. If Oscar's lie was out of pity to spare you punishment and is somewhat understandable, your mistakes are unforgivable. Leaving the academy without permission, not following the academy's arrangements, and making a senior lie for you. Any one of these is not a mistake a qualified soul master should make. If this were battlefield, the only outcome for you would be military law, and that is death. Ning Rongrong furrowed her brows, the gentle expression on her face gradually disappearing, replaced by a slightly contemptuous and disdainful look. This isn't a battlefield, it's just an academy. Flander nodded. Indeed, this is just an academy, but it's my Shrek Academy. Now, you have two choices. 1. Pack your things and leave immediately. You don't deserve to be here. 2. Prove to me that you have the right to stay here and the determination to not break the rules again. Ning Rongrong smilet. Despite being only 12, her smile was undeniably cute and beautiful, though it carried an unsettling undertone. Flander, who do you think you are? Just a lowly soul sage. At these words, Tang San, Xiao Wu, and the others were taken aback. They couldn't believe that the seemingly gentle girl would say something like this. Ning Rongrong's face had lost its softness, now showing an expression of disdain and superiority. Flander wasn't angered by her words. He smiled slightly. Indeed, I am just a lowly soul sage, but you are far from my level. Even though you are the most talented of your generation in the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile clan, you are still only a grandmaster. There is a vast gulf between us. If you look down on this place, then leave. Shrek Academy does not welcome students who cannot follow the rules. Ning Rongrong sneret. You want to drive me away? It's not that easy. Since I'm here, I don't intend to leave early. Flander, I advise you to mind your own business. Otherwise, the consequences will be more than you can handle. Flander laughed coldly. If I were afraid of consequences, this academy wouldn't exist. This is my territory, and I make the rules. Mubai. Headmaster. Dai Mubai stepped forward. At this moment, his gaze towards Ning Rongrong was filled with disbelief. He vaguely understood that this was Ning Rongrong's true nature, but her previous behavior had been too well disguised. Flander said, Go to Miss Ning Rongrong's room and bring her things here, then escort her out. If she resists, you may use any means necessary. Flander, how dare you? Ning Rongrong shouted, hands on her hips. The 12-year-old girl displayed an extremely aggressive demeanor. You are the first person to treat me like this. Flander sneered. Your father may be reluctant to discipline you, but that doesn't mean I am. You are not my daughter, nor are you my treasure. In my eyes, every other student here is better than you. The 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda martial soul is indeed one of the most powerful auxiliary martial souls, but you only bring it shame. You're talking nonsense. Ning Rongrong's chest heaved with anger. She always knew she was the most outstanding disciple of her generation in the 7-treasure glazed tile clan. She had many elder brothers, but none had reached level 20 before the age of 12 like she had. Her father, the clan leader, had even said she was the only one in hundreds of years who might transform the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda into an 8-treasure glazed tile pagoda. For Flander to belittle her like this, her pride couldn't take it. A talking nonsense? Then tell me, who here are you stronger than? Flander asked disdainfully. Ning Rongrong said, I am an auxiliary type soul master. Of course, I can't compare to these battle soul masters in terms of combat strength. But my contribution on the battlefield is far greater than theirs. With my support, a soul master team's overall strength would greatly increase. Flander shook his finger at her. No, you're wrong. Each of them would be more valuable on the battlefield than you because they have a chance to survive, whereas you do not. With your temperament, you be nothing but cannon fodder on the battlefield.
Impossible.
Our 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda martial soul is unparalleled. How could I be inferior to them? Flander responded coldly, because of your heart. Because of your arrogance and impatience, you overestimate yourself. Even your father wouldn't consider himself the best. Without excellent companions, even a common soul master could defeat him. With your personality, do you think you could find partners you can completely trust with your back? Ning Rongrong was stunned. Although she had a spoiled and peculiar temperament, she was very smart. Flander's words, though harsh, made sense to her, leaving her momentarily speechless. Flander walked slowly to stand in front of Dai Mubai and the others, who hadn't fetched Ning Rongrong's things because of the ongoing conversation. Flander pointed at Dai Mubai. He is 15 years old. His martial soul is the White Tiger, a battle-type soul master. He has natural double pupils. At level 37, he has 200-year soul rings and 1,000-year soul ring. He is the youngest level 30 soul master in the history of Shrek Academy, having reached this level at 13. Can you claim to break through the 30-level barrier at 13? If anyone here could surpass Mubai, it certainly wouldn't be you. Tang San and Xiao Wu, at 12 years old, have already reached level 29 Grandmaster. They are more likely to surpass Mubai. You saw Tang San fight Zhao Wuji. You understand the gap between a Grandmaster and a Soul Sage. Although Zhao Wuji didn't use his full strength, you clearly saw Tang San's combat power. In terms of talent, they surpass you. Ning Rongrong still couldn't refute. Flander was right. Dai Mubai, Tang San, and Xiao Wu were all stronger in soul power than her. Flander turned to Ma Hongjun and Zhu Zhuqing. Ma Hongjun, your age is similar to Tang San, Xiao Wu, and hers. You entered Shrek Academy at 11, despite the flaws in your martial soul. However, your mutated martial soul is a top-tier beast martial soul, unparalleled on the continent. Your soul power is also not inferior to hers, even with part of your energy dedicated to compensating for your martial soul's defects. As Zhu Zhuqing, your soul power is similar to hers, but unlike her, you have a firm and determined heart. Zhu Zhuqing, tell me, why did you come to Shrek Academy? Zhu Zhuqing's voice was cold and unwavering as she answered, to become stronger. Flander continued, how would you approach the courses arranged by the Academy? Zhu Zhuqing replied, as long as it benefits my strength improvement, I will execute it without hesitation. Flander said calmly, Ning Rongrong, did you hear that? Ask yourself, can you compare to any of them? Here, you are already the weakest. What pride do you have left? I dare say that if you leave here, 20 years from now, their achievements will far surpass yours. Ning Rongrong was unwilling to accept it. She truly couldn't accept it. What about Oscar? I must be stronger than him. He's just a minor support-type soul master, specializing in food. He can't be better than me, right? Flanders shook his head. No, you're wrong. If you think like that, then you're gravely mistaken. Oscar's talent surpasses even Mubai's. Otherwise, why would I allow him to enter the academy? Ning Rongrong, let me ask you one question. Have you ever seen a food-type martial soul with innate full soul power? Ning Rongrong's expression paled. No, that's impossible. How could a support-type martial soul have innate full soul power? In the world of soul masters, although rare, there were individuals with innate full soul power. However, it had never been seen in support-type martial souls. Ning Rongrong believed she was exceptionally talented because her martial soul had reached level 9 upon awakening, just one step away from innate full soul power. This was already considered an exceptional existence among support-type martial souls. She never imagined that the somewhat handsome but seemingly lascivious Oscar would have innate full soul power. Flanders said indifferently, Oscar is an unprecedented existence. His future achievements are limitless. He might even surpass your 7-treasure glazed tile clan's position among support-type soul masters. You may not believe what I say, but I can assure you it's very likely. Ning Rongrong stood there dazed. Growing up surrounded by everyone's praise and favor, coupled with her own talent, she always thought she was the most outstanding and talented. Even if her current strength wasn't strong enough, it was because of her age. When she saw Tang San's fight with Zhao Wuji, she was already shocked. But subconsciously, she still separated herself from Tang San. After all, everyone's martial soul cultivation paths were different. However, every word Flanders spoke now felt like a sword piercing her heart, completely shattering what she was most proud of. Ning Rongrong's face looked somewhat pale. Suddenly, she burst into tears and ran towards her dormitory. A smug smile appeared on Flanders' face. He thought to himself, if I can't handle a 12-year-old girl, then I'm not worthy of the title of the Golden Iron Triangle. Dai Mubai looked at the smile on Flanders' face and tentatively asked, Dean, should I still go help her pack? Flanders glared at him. Do you want her to leave? Although Ning Rongrong has been a bit spoiled, her nature isn't bad. Let her figure it out on her own. Go call Oscar back. Tell him I'm exempting him from punishment and let him go comfort Ning Rongrong. Okay. Dai Mubai answered and went to find Oscar. At this moment, he couldn't help but admire Flanders even more. Dai Mubai also came from a prestigious family and knew how terrifying the 7-treasure glazed tile clan's position was on the continent. Even the royal families of the 2 major empires would treat the 7-treasure glazed tile clan's clan leader with great respect. Flanders dared to reprimand the most favored princess of the 7-treasure glazed tile clan, without fear of consequences. This wasn't just simple courage. Actually, Dai Mubai didn't know that Flanders was holding a letter from the clan leader of the 7-treasure glazed tile clan in his arms, a letter that could be used as a powerful weapon. Otherwise, would Flanders really have no qualms? Xiao Wu quietly stuck out her tongue. She hadn't expected Ning Rongrong's true nature to be like this. Yesterday, when she was with Ning Rongrong, she always felt very friendly. Now she realized that Ning Rongrong's personality was even more domineering than hers. Flanders clasped his hands behind his back. All right, let's get ready to leave. You've all seen the outcome for Ning Rongrong and Oscar. If you want to stay here and cultivate, you must follow the rules of the academy. Attend every class diligently. My words here are orders. Next, you will begin your first class in Shrek. Each of you will independently complete your own course. Don't blame me for not warning you beforehand. If you don't perform well, you'll suffer more than just a skin-deep punishment. Dai Mubai quickly returned, nodding to Flanders to indicate that he had already sent Oscar to comfort Ning Rongrong. Flanders waved his hand. Let's go. Follow me. With that, he lightly leaped forward, heading towards the direction outside the academy. The others hurried to follow. Flander maintained a fairly brisk pace, revealing the difference in strength among the 5 students. Following closely behind Flander was Dai Mubai, the one with the deepest soul power. Behind Dai Mubai was Zhu Qing, not Tang San. Tang San's ghost shadow perplexing track excelled in its subtlety, but in terms of straight-line acceleration, he was not as good as Zhu Qing, who was an agility-type soul master. Therefore, he and Xiao Wu were ranked equally in 3rd place. Ma Hongjun was at the back, but he wasn't far behind Tang San. During the journey, Flander didn't say a word, and neither did Tang San and the others. They were still recalling the conversation between Flander and Ning Rongrong. Soon, Tang San noticed that the destination of Flander's trip was Soto City. Soto City wasn't far from Shrek Academy. As they approached the south gate of Soto City, Flander's speed slowed down, allowing the 5 students to catch up. Soto City was located within the Barak Kingdom and was not threatened by external forces, so the city gates were always open. The 6 of them entered the city smoothly. Although it was already dark, Soto City was bustling as if it had just woken up, even livelier than during the day. All the shops along the streets were brightly lit, and some vendors who only operated at night had found their usual spots to sell snacks or small items. Although Tang San and Xiao Wu had stayed in Soto City for 2 days, they hadn't come out at night. Tang San was relatively fine, but Xiao Wu was eager to explore, looking around excitedly. Whenever she saw something interesting, she would sneak a few more glances. If Tang San hadn't been holding her hand, she might have wandered off. Zhu Qing remained cold as ever, seemingly unaffected by the outside world, her gaze always fixed on Flander in front of her, unaffected by the surroundings. Dai Mubai's demeanor was reserved, showing his calmness. He looked almost identical to Zhu Qing, except that his face lacked the frostiness, appearing more natural. Ma Hongjuan's eyes seemed restless. Although he wasn't as interested in everything as Xiao Wu, his eyes darted around, targeting the most distinctive women on the street. From 6 to 60, Ma Hongjuan's eyes didn't miss anyone. Whenever he saw someone with a fuller figure, he couldn't help but salivate. Fortunately, he was at the back of the group, and the others didn't notice his current state. Flander suddenly stopped, glanced at the sky, and muttered to himself, We still have some time. Follow me." With that, Flander led the 5 of them into a seemingly inconspicuous tea shop on the side of the street. The 6 of them sat around a round table, and Flander ordered 6 cups of the cheapest tea. Xiao Wu wrinkled her brow as she looked at the tea, which was full of tea leaves. "Adine, our first class isn't going to be held here, is it?" Flander replied, Of course not. Where you'll have your class is over there." As he spoke, he pointed outside. Following his finger, Tang San saw a large, towering building not far from the tea shop. From their angle, they could only see that the building was nearly 100 meters tall, immense and profound in the darkness. Faint lights flickered from within the huge building. Dai Mubai's expression changed slightly, and he whispered, Dean, are you sending them there on the first day?" Flander said calmly, Remember, you are all monsters, not ordinary people. Since you're monsters, you should have monster-like training methods." He paused and continued, Your martial souls are all different, and each of you has your own training methods. What the Academy can teach you is how to better utilize your martial souls, gain more soul rings, acquire more combat experience, and maximize your potential. The most important thing among all the things you need to learn is combat experience. The amount of combat experience you have will determine the key to victory or defeat at the same level and strength. Only through continuous combat can you improve your adaptability in battle as much as possible. So, your first lesson is combat. And that place is your classroom. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun exchanged a glance. Ma Hongjun didn't dare to speak, while Dai Mubai's eyes revealed a hint of helplessness. They obviously knew what kind of place it was. Tang San, Xiao Wu, and the ice-cold Zhu Zhuqing all showed puzzled expressions. Flander said, buildings like this can only be found in main cities. Their scale can be said to be a symbol of a city's or even a country's strength. Such buildings are called Great Spirit Arenas, named after the cities they're in. So the one in front of you is called the Soto Great Spirit Arena. The so-called Great Spirit Arena is where martial souls contend, where soul masters duel. Whether it's in the Heaven Do Empire or the Star Luo Empire, there's such a saying. The Great Spirit Arena determines the rise and fall of a nation. Tang San furrowed his brow. Dean, aren't soul masters supposed to be a noble profession? Why would there be places like the Great Spirit Arena, where it seems like they're just monkeys showing off their martial souls? Flander shook his head. No, you're wrong. Although I don't like places like the Great Spirit Arena, I have to admit that it's an important place to showcase the value of soul masters. You're oversimplifying it. The Great Spirit Arena has its own complete system and can be considered a special force. It was jointly established by the 7 most prestigious soul master families on the entire continent, not affiliated with either of the 2 empires or the Spirit Hall. It's like a third-party power, immensely influential. Soul masters who gain fame in the Great Spirit Arena will become shining stars in the entire country, not only gaining huge benefits but also immense fame. Furthermore, the Great Spirit Arena is a relatively fair place. Here, even if you kill someone from a major family, you don't have to worry about retaliation. That's its fairness. With a gleam of brilliance in his eyes, Flander continued, the level of martial souls is a symbol of a soul master's strength, and soul rings are the best expression. However, this doesn't necessarily represent a soul master's true ability. Only the titles obtained through the Great Spirit Arena can truly reflect one's strength. Any level of soul master who enters the Great Spirit Arena is represented simply by the term soul battler. After winning their first battle, they receive a badge. Subsequently, each victory earns them points, and when these points reach a certain level, the badge's rank increases. This badge is a symbol of the arena's level and is universal in all main cities across the continent. Higher-ranked badges bring numerous benefits, but I won't go into detail. The badge ranks are classified based on mineral qualities, starting from iron badge, then copper, silver, gold, purple gold, sapphire, ruby, and diamond. There are a total of 8 levels. Looking at the 5 before him, Flander said, your task from me is to at least obtain a silver badge before graduation. Understand? You don't think it's an easy task to obtain a silver badge. Mubai and Hongjun have participated in battles here for over a year. Mubai, you tell them about the requirements for badge level upgrades and your records. As he spoke, Flander calmly took a sip of the low-quality tea in front of him. Having founded Shrek Academy 20 years ago, he naturally knew the most effective way to educate students, to arouse their interest. Anything done with interest as a prerequisite would yield double the results with half the effort. The students selected for Shrek Academy were undoubtedly extraordinary. These students, or rather monsters, or geniuses, couldn't be educated using conventional methods. Dai Mubai said, I started participating in battles in the Soto Great Spirit Arena when I was level 29. I've fought 56 battles so far, with a record of 29 wins and 27 losses. Currently, I have 2 points. To upgrade from Iron Badge to Copper Badge, I need 100 points. Each victory earns 1 point, but if you lose, you'll lose points too. If you win more than 5 consecutive battles, you'll earn 10 points for each subsequent win. If you win more than 10 consecutive battles, you'll earn 100 points for each additional win. Even if you successfully upgrade from Copper Badge to Silver Badge, as long as you lose 100 points, you'll lose the qualification for the Copper Badge. To upgrade from Copper Badge to Silver Badge, you need 1,000 points. Battles between Copper Badge holders earn 10 points for each victory, and 10 points are deducted for each loss. The ratio of points earned for consecutive wins is the same as that for Iron Badge holders. Tang San, who somewhat understood Dai Mubai's strength, couldn't help but be surprised. Mubai, with your strength, only 29 wins and 27 losses? How is that possible? Your martial soul should be quite formidable among beast martial souls.
Dai Mubai smiled bitterly.
Nothing is impossible. The Great Spirit Arena is not an easy place to navigate. There are 3 types of battles here. One is called sparring, which is just like what I mentioned earlier, with rules. Participants are grouped according to their levels or the number of soul rings they have. Once you gain an additional soul ring, you'll have to participate in the next group's battles. When I was level 29, I won 4 consecutive battles and was about to start earning 10 times the points. But my strength had reached level 30 after that, gaining my 3rd soul ring. After that, I lost over 10 consecutive battles, and my points became negative. Even with 3 soul rings, how could I, at level 30, have any chance of winning against opponents at levels 38 or 39? To achieve consecutive victories here, one would have to start participating in battles at level 29 for some time, then pause after reaching level 30, and resume battles after reaching level 39. But our purpose is real combat, so we can't do that. Naturally, my record suffers as a result. My points are even lower than Fatty's. Ma Hongjun chimed in, I've fought 33 battles so far, with 21 wins and 12 losses, earning 9 points. Flander glanced at the sky outside. It's almost time. Let's head over. I'll tell you more about the situation on site. After settling the tea bill, the 6 of them walked out of the tea shop and headed towards the Soto Great Spirit Arena. As they got closer, the awe-inspiring feeling from the arena became even more astonishing. When Tang San and Xiao Wu first arrived in Soto City, they hadn't visited this part of the city, so they didn't know there was such a magnificent building here.